Howdy folks, I'm Brian, here's some Reddit, happy Friday, welcome to the Blanket Fort, all that jazz. Alright, our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Giving Away My Late Wife's Stuff to Our Nanny? My late wife died of ovarian cancer 3 months ago. I realized that I had to hire a nanny, so I hired Emily, a 21-year-old female who was a junior at a local college to take care of my 9 and 8-year-old daughters. Emily has been great. She's been the mother figure that my daughters had previously lost. She's also gone above and beyond to help me run my errands and double as my personal assistant. She's also a brilliant person. I've let her sit in on a few meetings for business I run and provided insight. Emily has confided in me that she has this job because college is very expensive and that she landed an internship at a company, but she cannot afford the rotation of professional attire that the other interns will be wowing everyone in. My late wife left behind some clothing items, shoes, bags she'd take to work. She and her sister would always go together and pick out old vintage stuff for each other. My former sister-in-law kept saying that these things were valuable and that my daughters could have them when they were like 16. I thought 8 years was a long time for any of my late wife's clothes to collect dust, and it would be better served in the hands of an intelligent, hard-working woman who could really appreciate them now. My former sister-in-law comes by the house a lot to see the kids, and I told Emily not to bring this to the attention of the kids' aunt since she's still sore over her sister's death, but that if she wanted to go and see if there were things that she liked, then they are hers. As I expected, Emily was exceptionally thankful, and after seeing the closet, she came back the next day with bags and wrapping paper like you get at the department stores, and she carefully started putting jackets, a lot of purses and wallets, and some jewelry, and some pants into the bags. She thanked me profusely again yesterday afternoon when I saw her off coming home, and I said if she ever needed more help, I'd be happy to see how I could help her out. My former sister-in-law came by later that night and was furious and sobbing when she saw that some of her and apparently my late wife's favorite things were gone. She said that my late wife would have wanted the stuff to go to the kids and said that some of the bags that I gave away have sentimental value. I told her that you don't know whether the girls wanted them or not, and my late wife is no longer alive, so I wasn't depriving her of her favorite things. I also tried to reason that why would I have stuff from the past just sit here and do nothing, instead of giving it to someone who could really appreciate it now. My former sister-in-law said I was trashing my wife's memory by how I decided to get rid of the things, and I have no idea the value of the things I gave away and the good memories inherent in them. I refused to tell her who I gave it to, and refused to ask for any of it back, and she stormed out. Am I a jerk for taking care of the people who are still alive? Alright, OP. I mean, here's the thing, is that I really think that you talk about this woman in such a way that it makes it sound like you're enamored with her. And you may be thinking with your heart, which isn't always a bad thing, as opposed to your head. And I think that in the near future, you may come to regret this decision, especially if you never see her again. And I think that you're hoping here that this will blossom into some kind of romantic relationship, if I had to guess from how you have written things here. And if the reality of that situation never comes to be, then I think that you're going to be sorely disappointed. And maybe you won't be, and maybe I'm just kind of, misjudging things here. But it really seems like this is something that you're doing because you have an emotional attachment here. And again, thinking with the heart isn't bad, but I think the way you're executing this isn't necessarily good. I think that you could have loaned them to her. You could have said, hey, I'm going to let you borrow these things for your internship, but these are things that are eventually going to go to my daughter, so please take care of them and bring them back. And I think she would have been understanding about that. And she would have taken good care of them. What you did here is really hard because, your sister sister-in-law, you say she's your ex-sister-in-law, but I mean, I don't know that that's really the case here. She's still your sister-in-law in a lot of ways. I mean, maybe not legally by the legal definition, but she is still hurting from the loss of your wife. And I think in some ways, hopefully you are too. I mean, I know that you're probably still hurting from the loss of your wife and you're still, trying to cope with things. But I think this is probably the worst way possible to go about it. And maybe even seeing these things hurt you. And that's part of the reason why you kind of want them out of the house, maybe, is because you're seeing them and you're like, these just remind me of my late wife, and all it does is bring me pain and anguish. And I'm hoping that's what's the case here. But if that isn't, then I think you need to kind of reevaluate your priorities and try to kind of understand things from like your daughter's perspective. They may want these things. You never asked them if they wanted them, and you just assumed that these were going to be they were going to be fine with you giving them away. And in 8 years, they might not be. And that's something that you need to think about. Anyhow, take care and good luck. You're the jerk. You don't seem too torn up over your wife's death 3 months ago, and you didn't even consider that your children may want these items one day. You barely know the nanny. You're the jerk. This is either really fake or really creepy. Dude, you don't get to dictate how others mourn. You don't seem like you care that your wife died only 3 months ago, but your daughters may want those things later on. Why are you okay with giving that away? Obviously, your sister-in-law felt very attached to those items, and since you mentioned it was a thing that she shared with her sister, your wife, it's especially callous. So, the nanny is good in bed, eh? 'Cause that's what you're making it sound like. You're the jerk. Speaking of being good in bed, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Showing My Roommate a Security Footage of Her Having Adult Fun Times in My Room? I live with 3 roommates, and since I had bad experiences with roommates before, I installed a security camera and to get an alert if someone enters my room. One day, we were all supposed to be at work and school. One roommate and her boyfriend entered my room, and they had adult time for whatever reason. My app alerted me and started recording automatically. When I got home, I confronted her about it, and she owned up to it. Said that they did it in different rooms to spice things up, and that it's not that big of a deal. She was, however, pretty angry at the fact that I had a security camera in my room and a video of her having adult time, which I deleted, obviously. She said that recording her is a bigger invasion of privacy than her doing it in my room. Am I the jerk in this situation? No, OP, you're not the jerk here. She had no right to be in your room. If you're recording in your room as a security measure, she has no right to be in there, and she, could have been stealing for all you know. And in this case, she wasn't, but it's really gross to go into someone else's room and do this kind of stuff, because now, like, if you didn't know about this, you would have, slept on those sheets that they did this on? I mean, no, I don't think that this was an invasion of her privacy, because she had no reason to know about a camera in your bedroom, because it's your private bedroom. So yeah. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. She shouldn't have been doing that in your room in the first place, and you have every right to have a camera in your room. You didn't set out to record her doing that. It's not an invasion of her privacy, because she's not entitled to privacy when she's in your personal space. And then someone else says, I wonder how many times she did this. To know that OP was sleeping on the same sheets without anything is just ew. It's an even bigger invasion of privacy. Yeah, not the jerk. It is a big deal to enter someone's room and have adult time without them knowing. She can spice it elsewhere. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, the whole house. What, like the kitchen table? The whole house. They ran out of all other rooms in the house, and then they resorted to your bedroom. Just saying, OP. Just saying. Good luck. All right, our final letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Taking My Kids Out to Dinner with My Boyfriend Against My Ex's Wishes? My ex-husband, a 35-year-old male, and I, a 36-year-old female, have 3 daughters, 8, 10, and 15. When we split up, we went the mediation route. I knew that if mediation was successful, we'd all save a lot of money, so when he asked us to agree to wait at least 6 months before introducing any new partner to our kids, I agreed without much further thought because I had bigger things on my mind at the time. 3 months ago, I started dating and I met a man, a 23-year-old male, who honestly understands me and the unspoken thoughts floating around in my head in a way very few people did. We became exclusive immediately and have taken vacations together where, unlike my ex-husband, I have found him exceptionally easy to live with. He also has similar aspirations and values to me and comes from a very good family. A very good family. We started talking about my kids and he said he's totally open to meeting them. My ex-husband has split custody with me, but he got deployed again and is communicating with the kids through Zoom. I figured that since I was once again the only parent my girls had, my ex-husband should be able to trust my judgment. So I set a date and told my girls that I have someone important that I wanted them to meet. We ended up going out to dinner at this outdoor restaurant by the beach. My boyfriend was very polite and engaging. Unfortunately, my youngest took an irrational dislike to him because she insisted on bringing our dog along, and the dog and my boyfriend really did not take to each other. My middle daughter said he was very funny and seemed cool, and my older daughter didn't say much of anything. I find out this morning from a series of angry messages from my ex that my older daughter told him about the dinner and says the guy was charming but seemed emotionally distant. So now my ex basically thinks my boyfriend is a sociopath because he likes jumping to conclusions. My ex says I broke our agreement, but I defended myself, saying that during a court proceedings last year, he said he didn't expect to be far from home for a while, but here he was deployed again. Am I the jerk? All right, OP. I do think that you're the jerk here. You said that you were going to wait 3 more months before you brought your kids into your boyfriend into the picture, and you violated that. You should have waited the full 6 months. Plain and simple. And, while it seems inconvenient, it would have just caused so many fewer issues in the long run. So, I do understand, him being deployed then means that now you have to spend a lot more time with the kids and you don't have as much of a chance at, being alone with your new boyfriend. And I think that's part of the reason why you did this here is because you wanted to introduce them so that he could kind of help out a little bit. But unfortunately, again, I think you made an agreement, and at the time, you may not have expected your ex-husband to be gone for a long time, but your ex-husband also probably did not expect to be gone for a long time. You're the jerk. You agreed to the terms, and 6 months is a reasonable amount of time to wait. You disregarded his feelings and the agreement you two set. Edit. Also, you disregarding the agreed upon conditions for your boy toy isn't the same as their father being deployed. I admit I'm fairly ignorant on military issues, but I'm pretty sure deployments aren't under their control. Your need to involve a near child into your actual child's lives during the honeymoon stage isn't remotely comparable. So yeah, I definitely agree with going against the terms of the mediation. Deployment generally isn't something that is under people's control. Well, it isn't. If your deployment time is up, ready, then you're going to be deployed, and you basically have no say in the matter. So if for some reason he was deployed, then he's probably not going to have any say in it. Sometimes people can volunteer for deployments, but if that's not what happened here, then certainly, he had no control. You're the jerk. You have mediated agreement on how to co-parent, you broke it, and you didn't communicate with him before you did so. Just because you don't like your ex and he's deployed doesn't mean that you get to make unilateral decisions about your shared kids. Also, 6 months is not a long time to wait to introduce your children to your boyfriend. The mediated agreement is not unreasonable. Info: 3 daughters aged 8, 10, and 15. I started dating and met a man 23-year-old. What do your daughters think about you dating a man who's old enough to be their sibling? So yeah, just the other day, someone in these comments here were talking about how they just wanted for once to find the older woman who was the jerk in this situation, and I think we found it. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.